This episode of the D-Lew Podcast is brought to you by Happy Wrap. You ever wanted to design your very own gift wrapping paper? Now is your chance to do so. Whether it's for the holiday season, weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, no matter what the occasion calls for, you can use Happy Wrap to wrap your gifts. As a matter of fact, you can even design notebooks, greeting cards, gift tags, and so much more. You can sign up today at happy.thedlewpodcast.com and use the promo code DLEW to get your 10% discount at checkout. Again, that's happy.thedlewpodcast.com and use promo code DLEW to get your 10% discount at checkout. By Simpler Hair Color. Hey guys, are you tired of using that drugstore hair dye brand that isn't getting the job done? If you want to use a great product to cover those grays, have no fear, Simpler Hair Color is here. No mixing, no dripping, no mess. It's super easy to use, whether you're a beginner or a pro. Go to simpler.thedlewpodcast.com and use promo code DLEW10 for your 10% discount at checkout. Again, that's simpler.thedlewpodcast.com and use my promo code DLEW10 for your 10% discount at checkout. And by WWE Shop with Fanatics. Get your favorite WWE Superstars merchandise and wear them proud with superstars like the OTC Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, the Second City Saint CM Punk, John Cena, Main Event Jey Uso, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, and so many more. Oh, by the way, they got some really cool championship belts in there as well. So go to wrestling.thedlewpodcast.com. Again, that's wrestling.thedlewpodcast.com so you can go to WWE Shop with Fanatics. This podcast is a Believe Network and Siete production. Welcome to another edition of the D-Lew Podcast, powered by Believe Network. I'm your host, Derrick T. Lewis, and I hope this week is treating you all wonderfully. Today is March 27th, and that means baseball is back. My New York Yankees are facing the Milwaukee Brewers today at 3:05 Eastern Time. I'm looking forward to it and hopeful for a great baseball season by my boys. This past weekend, was the Super 8 tournament where yours truly is the ECWA ring announcer. And I got to tell you, that was an incredible, incredible tournament. But I got to give credit where credit is due to the winner of the Super 8 tournament, and that was Leo Sparrow. There was a brand new ECWA Legacy champion that won the Battle Royal. He was under a mask. He was dressed as a clown, but it was the Machine, Sam Shields. I thought the guy retired. I actually ring announced his retirement match, and he got the bug, he got the itch. He is back in ECWA. So welcome back, Sam Shields. And of course, we crowned a brand new ECWA heavyweight champion, and he is locked in LA Vin. If you guys want to rewatch the Super 8 tournament by ECWA, you can go to ECWA's YouTube channel, and you can watch it in its entirety. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. But I'm going to shift away from wrestling this week and get into some music and some entertainment. And this week, my guest hails from the Queen City in Charlotte, North Carolina. She is Kareesh Forreal. I mean, she does everything. She's a recording artist. She is an actress. She has her own media company called Culture Buzzin'. And she's with us today to talk about all aspects of her life and her career. And let's not wait any longer. My exclusive interview with Kareesh Forreal starts right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a very talented young lady hailing from the Queen City, aka Charlotte, North Carolina. She's an actress, a recording artist. She's the CEO and founder of Culture Buzzin' TV. She's the creative director for Result in No Hype magazine and Radio Pushers. She's graced us with her presence today to talk about all aspects of her life and career. She's the one and only Kareesh Forreal. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. I'm fabulous now that I finally got to the show.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. So, like I said in the intro here, you are from the Queen City. So, talk about life growing up in a beautiful city of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, well, I didn't actually grow up totally in Charlotte, North Carolina. Originally from Charleston area, South Carolina.
Okay.
So then I migrated to Charlotte. So basically, kind of grew up in South Carolina, traveled a lot, and then made my way to Charlotte because it was easier with my opportunity when I wanted to run track professionally, and then also pursuing the arts and then traveling, touring. So that's what landed me in Charlotte, North Carolina, and haven't left since.
Wow, that's awesome. And we're going to talk about some track stuff in a little bit for sure. You
Okay.
alluded to that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, at what age did you discover music, and who were some of the artists that you gravitated towards?
Oh, great question. I would say that I'm pretty much like a protege. My father, he and his brother and cousins, they created a group. First, they were a secular group. Then they went to gospel, then back to secular, then back to gospel. And
Hmm.
he got his scholarship, not scholarship. I'm sorry. He got his record deal. I think they were like 20, between 20 and 23.
Okay.
So they traveled. So I think I felt that I got it, just by just by family. But it was around maybe 4 or 5. My grandmother used to take me around with her. She traveled a lot as well. And they had me singing everywhere. So I really gravitated towards that and really loved it and felt that it was very expressive. I was fortunate enough to be around a lot of older people. So I think that's why I'm more seasoned and in knowledge and just wanted to soak everything up. So that's what happened.
And there's nothing, and listen, I think when you're around a lot of the experienced people, you're gonna learn so much and you're gonna be a sponge, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
hear and listening, to a
Yes.
lot of those things, a lot of those gems that they drop on you.
James.
And all you got as a youngster, you just kind of know your place. You just be quiet and just listen,
Right.
and
Right.
great things are gonna happen. Now, I know you mentioned before, you used to sing in the church choir. So
Mhm.
talk about that experience is singing in the church choir and how you were able to grow as a musician, as a vocalist.
Okay, with that, I sung in a choir. Basically, a lot of the stuff I became lead, but with that, I had an ear, so I
Hmm.
was able to harmonize or harmonize others. I created other choirs or different groups. My brother and my sister and I, we became like a group because my father also played instruments, and he was trying to teach me how to play the piano. I wanted to just end up trying to play everything with one hand, uh,
Hmm.
and that didn't work.
Yeah, you
But
gotta
I
have both,
think
right?
yes, so what I did, though, I did learn how to play a full set of drums by ear, just by going, myself self-taught. My brothers, I taught them how to play the drums. They're immaculate in that, but then they, also learned from my dad just the basic strings, for the
Hmm.
lead guitar and the bass guitar, and we created our own little group. My sister, she had the tambourine.
Okay.
And what we did also was emulated my dad and my uncles, their groups.
Hmm.
They traveled a lot, so it was like a lot of singing concerts. So they opened up for a lot of the big names, like Shirley Caesar, different
Okay.
people like that. So it was like, oh my gosh, you can touch. It was just really interesting, behind the scenes, and just seeing the finished product after they practiced. So we emulated them a lot and their biggest hits or other people hits. And so people was just like, oh my God, it was like cute little kids and they can do it. So
Hmm.
it went from there. And then I just started singing solo or did different, like I said, little groups here and there. And I just kept going with it.
And you hear a lot of times, where people start out in the church and they learn those things, something you may not learn from a vocal coach or anything like that. And
Yeah.
I find for people that I've known that just come from the church, raw talent. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Something that you just can't teach, something you
Yeah.
can't coach. Some are born with it and some aren't. And
Yes.
a lot of these successful, I mean, look at Whitney Houston, you know what I mean?
Right.
She was at the famous New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, New Jersey. You know what I mean?
Yes.
One of my teachers from when I was in elementary school went to church with them, with the Houstons,
Wow.
and because
Yes.
I'm from North Jersey, so
Exactly. Yes.
Whitney was, they called her the voice for a reason. You know what I mean? She was just
Exactly.
so gifted at what she did, and
She
God
was.
rest her soul, definitely.
Yeah.
So you talked about it. You were a track and field star. In high school and college. So talk
Mhm.
about that experience as an athlete.
Oh, that was a great experience. One, it helped me mentally. First of all, it helped me get out of where I was because it just felt like everybody there was lost, or it was just
Hmm.
something I just used my gifts. And I was like, please, please utilize something, that one of these gifts to get me out here.
Right.
And one of the avenues was track and field. I basically, I really didn't even have enough. I couldn't afford even to buy the spikes that you're supposed to run in. So
Mm.
I had like these thick sole sneakers that was emulating like champions.
Hmm.
And I was just determined to run. And my first
Right.
race, I ran. And then they was like, wait a minute. And I won the 100 meters. And then I started getting my spikes, everything that I needed to. And then I just advanced. What I loved about it, it was like it started conditioning me for life, the way to think about it, and really to focus, because it was just so hectic in daily life that that was
Mm.
an escape. So even with the track, you're running your own lane, the goal, and that was just my safe haven to really hone in on that. And then it was just, for me, it was surreal as well, because I started seeing college coaches coming out that wanted to recruit, and professionals. So it just got me in different places that it worked and opened up a lot of avenues for me. And then I was happy because some of my attributes also helped the way, paved the way for others in order to get a college scholarship, or we're being in like the special AAU track
Hmm.
teams, stuff like that.
Right.
So just meeting different people, and then just the competitiveness, it was great. So and like you said, a lot of people in my family either athletically or musically inclined. So I just didn't know that I had that it in me.
Hmm.
So it did
Right.
come naturally, but I definitely focused on each thing. And my coach, whatever my coaches threw at me, I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I excelled at everything that they put in front of me. So just from the county and meets, smaller meets where people came out because it was like, oh my God, it's a competition. We got two people from different counties. Who gonna win?
Right.
And it was just fun because the hype, and I was part of the hype. So it was cool too, because it felt like a movie where, where it's the people that they always like, oh, I was picked on, or felt was like not part of the in crowd. So
Mm.
I'm used to being a standout, or people just having that. And they was like, oh, because you look white, you look this, you mix, what are you? And did just different things, because I wasn't, with the best clothes and everything like that. And my family didn't have a lot. So it was just fighting against those, what I call like the barriers, or the daily pressures that teens have,
Right.
and then just having an avenue. I mean, I just chose a positive way out. And then I just
Yeah.
started seeing that other people was inspired by it. And just from it, going from there to college, and then being asked for, as far as on a professional level, and then just being named to these different honors of Hall of Fame. I didn't even know about it. I'm traveling, all in the music world now, overseas in Australia, in on a tour. And then later on, that's when I found out, I was being placed in these different with these different titles, for indoor track, outdoor. I dabbled in other sports as well, but I just love track. It was track and field. It was just like escape, get out, but you're focusing and you're going towards
Hmm.
a better goal, and it worked. So I loved it.
I can imagine, looking now, college athletes now with the NIL that's happening today.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
it's like, I got to ask you, what was the recruitment process like for you, being sought after by all of these schools. What was that
Mhm.
like in regards to processing? They're courting you, hey,
Yes.
this scholarships or whatever it might be. Who was
Mhm.
what was some of those schools? And talk about
Mhm.
that process of being courted to attend these schools for track, for an athletic scholarship.
Wow. It was, I made sure as well to have an academic scholarship as well. So I stayed in the books because I wanted different avenues where I can just choose. So that helped out a lot where some of the other
Mm-hmm.
athletes, they had only like one or two choices. For me, I had the top schools that were coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the cold so much, so I didn't
Ah,
choose. So just being able still to visit those schools, and the fun part about it was for me was that I was still able to go to those schools at different invitationals and still make a mark, or either a personal record or a track record for that specific track and field
mm-hmm.
facility. And it was just great. It was just a great experience for me. It just For me, it was rewarding, because then I can see that there was something that others saw that I can help, make a change about, and change in with their programs. So they all talked about their programs. There was also, oh, are you going to go to a HBCU? If you don't go to a HBCU, then you're turned against your own kind. I
Ah,
had a few coaches that were upset about
mm,
that.
mm-mm-mm.
And for me, I went to some HBCUs as far as for like summer classes, like all throughout my youth, and I just saw what the limitations were at that time, and I said,
Right.
"Well, I know that I have to make a bigger mark." That's what was just. I moved by what is told to me on a spiritual level, and
Mhm.
I had like three or four schools that were lined up, and then I finally chose Winthrop University, and it was deemed the Ivy League of the South. So I was like, okay, so now I'm getting a little bit of the North, because my family was like, you're going to come to New York, you're going to go to Virginia, where are you going to go?
Right.
And when I went up there and experienced in the snow, when you open the door and the snow is up here, I was like,
Yeah.
to go. So I was like, this is a little happy medium. I had some colleges, that were more religious. Some of my family wanted me to go to a more religious type school, but I'm a spiritualist. So that was one of the reasons where I knew that I had to get out of the mindset that I was in of surrounding, just to learn the world. So
Right.
it helped me out a lot. And it was pretty interesting. I had people coming up even on a Saturday,
Mhm.
knocking on the door, wanted to talk. So I was like, okay, this is like what's in the movies.
Yeah. A lot. It's
Yes.
crazy when you see, especially for football. Forget about it.
Yeah.
It's just like it's more or less, son. You know,
Mhm.
do you want to play offensive line, defensive line in the NFL? Come to
Right.
Alabama, come to
Yeah.
Clemson, come to
Yep.
Georgia, come to
Yes.
USC. Like that's
Mhm.
it's that competitive.
That
Look
type,
what
yes.
Deion Sanders is doing now in Colorado. How he's
Correct.
turned that around. As a matter of fact, they said that since he's been there,
Mhm.
the team has the highest GPA in school history.
Wow.
So
Yes.
Coach Prime is just
It's amazing.
changing the entire game on the
Yes.
collegiate level, and I'm really really proud of him. But I'm thank you for sharing
Yeah.
your story, about college athletics and things of that nature.
Yes. Yes.
So when was it that you wanted to take your career in the entertainment industry seriously? When was it when that light bulb just went off and said, "I'm just going to go full throttle with this right now"?
Honestly, it was while I had already accepted to run track professionally, and I was training out at USC Columbia. And
Hmm.
I was training also alongside some of the athletes that were being recruited for the NFL or just had been made the NFL, so they were going back. And it was hot. And if you know South Carolina,
I've
that
heard.
is like the middle of, oh my God, the heat was like, whoo. So between that, I think going back and forth, traveling and doing practice, and then just meeting up with people. And it was like, oh, I'm looking for somebody like to travel. And they heard about the entertainment side. And it was one day, I mean, practice was heavy because we were training. Our training at that time was the same exact training that they were giving the NFL athletes that was trying out. So
Oh, so like the four, are you talking about like the 40-yard
the
dash and that type
40
of thing?
yard, yes, sir.
Wow.
And there was no sitting down, taking no breaks, and trying to play it. That was not, no. You're
Right.
not a pretty little star getting special treatment. No. So I think it was between that time and then just other people was like, I love hearing you. I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do this. So instead of running, and I think I was trying out with the hurdles, practicing to see if I could do the hurdles too. And then it
Hmm.
was like two people that they didn't clear the hurdles and their legs was all skinned up.
Oh, wow.
I said, well, I think, okay, so if I travel doing track and field, I'm traveling and then I'm practicing. If I do entertainment, I can still travel. If I want to be a model in a video, then I can still do the same thing without having my body marked up.
Right, 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 right.
In extreme heat. So that's pretty much what pushed me to it. And then other people that was just like, and then, like I said, for my dad, for him, he was a huge inspiration in regards to that as well. So I was like, oh, okay, well, let me see if I can get a record deal. And I had offers. I just didn't take them because of I didn't want to give of myself because you had to sign so much of your rights away. So I'm just like that. That's not even
Smart,
really me. Yeah.
smart, smart.
So
Yeah.
a lot of big names they came and they was and then they ended up telling me because they never heard of a person. I was more so business minded and wanted to see the contract, read it, and see what's going on.
Right.
That I then was like, no. So you're gonna control everything. I gotta give you my name. Yeah, that's all right. So then I just decided I was going to be able to, now that I have been around the best in the world, I can take what I learned and attribute to it and still be an independent artist, a creative, and then take it my way and take all the good experience, extract that out, and then voila. So that's what I did, and it's been helping, and it works.
That's awesome. And what a lot of people don't understand, because you and I met, through Radio Pusher. Shout out to Jonathan P. Wright,
Yes.
who has given a lot of game and a lot of gems and a lot of
Wow.
information about really how to do it on your own. It's gonna be hard, as an
Mm-hmm.
independent artist. But when you think about so many people that have gotten royally screwed over in
Yes.
this industry because they didn't read the contracts and they were so
Mhm.
rushed into, and you talk about the fame and the money and all that stuff will come
It
if you
will.
really just take your time and understand the business side of it. And I think that's where a lot of people miss the boat on is
Mhm.
if they want that quick money, but it's like that quick money's not going to last because you're being taken advantage of more than you realize. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
So, and at
Big
least you had the
time.
wherewithal earlier on, to
Yes.
say, this is not for me. And that
Yeah.
says a lot.
And I've always wanted to be a lawyer as well. So that's what prompted me quickly because I was around lawyers as well that were
Hmm.
contract lawyers. So I was just like, oh,
Right.
yeah, this is not going to work. That don't sound right. So I'm just fortunate enough to have been gifted, like you said earlier, to being around a lot of older or seasoned people
Mhm.
that I just picked up. I was just a sponge for a long time and still am.
And that's the best way to be. We're always learning, we're always evolving.
Yes.
It's important.
Yes. Yes.
So you had a single out in 2016 called Life of the Party. Then of course
Mhm.
there's a song Voila, I Want It
Mhm.
All, all these singles that you had. Talk about some of the
Ooh.
experiences recording for the first time in the studio, when you're
Mhm.
recording these records, and some of the producers that you worked with, and some of those stories that you have with them and what you learned from that process.
Okay, that's great. So with Life of the Party, when I came back to Charlotte, because like I was saying, I was staying in Charlotte. I know it was way before I was, probably early 2000, mid 2000. I came back without having to travel over the world all
Right.
the time. So even being in New Jersey and New York for a while, I fell in love
Hmm.
even with dance. So shout out to Barbara Tucker. I was able to meet Crystal Waters or work with them,
Ooh, okay.
Demetra Hicks, Lolita Holloway. She
Hmm.
called me her little grand. So it was a lot of the Ann Nesby. I met her as
Hmm.
well. So a lot of the greats, they then just adopted me like I was their little daughter, their little sister, or their grandmother. So I used to come up to what is it called, Trump Towers, when they had New Jersey would have the big concert events uh,
Mm-hmm.
with Lolita Holloway. I did background dancing with them. I met CNC Music Factory, or
Factory.
all these, and then it was just like, wow, I met all these people that I used to hear their music. My aunts would play all the time. I'm like, is that, did they say the Temptations? Did they say, because for a period of time they were recording them live so then they can resell the performances.
Right.
And I was just fortunate enough. I was like, oh my gosh. So just being behind the scenes and just learning and soaking up information from them. But I then said, okay, then now I can be an independent artist. I went overseas a lot. I did the lead with Turbo B of Snap. And
Okay.
oh my gosh, what was amazing was seeing a sea of people. Like his concert would be 50,000 to 100,000 people. And
Mm.
so I was just another thing of fortunate of being an independent artist. What a lot of things that people strive for as an independent artist, I was blessed. I already did it. Uh, as
Mm.
an independent, and what I love about him was that he then gave me my 3 to 5 minutes of doing my own music.
Right.
So it was like, wow. So then I came back to the States, and I was just like, okay, I like EDM, and dance was really hitting, and a lot of people at this time, because I can rap too, but a lot of people, Nicki Minaj was big at this time, and she was dominating and coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was trying to be the carbon copy of Nicki
Oh, Nikki.
Minaj.
Right.
Yeah, so it was either Nicki, Rihanna, or Beyonce. Everybody was trying those things, and a lot of people then start. One of the producers that I work with, Maximus, he had worked with a lot of labels, but then he opened up his own studio. Shout out to Maximus Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we were working on a song. I was working with Tavares, rest in heaven now. He was from Charlotte, and he worked with Aaliyah. He was very close with Aaliyah. He wrote a
Mm.
song on one of her songs on her last album, and he had wrote something we was writing, and he was also my vocal coach. And the song that another person was trying to submit, I was recording with Maximus, and his real name is Ira Parker, but I call him Maximus. And we was like, it's not hitting, it's not it, it's not it, and we scrapped everything, and I think we did it in 12 hours. The beat is original. We did the lyrics,
Lyrics. Right.
and we came in, and Life of the Party was born. And he was like, well, what you want to do, sis? And I was like, everybody trying to be Nikki, everybody trying to do this. I was like, but there is no, we're missing that party and that
Right.
good happy feeling. So I want to put that energy out there. So that's how Life of the Party was born. It really then captivated me because I said, I miss being overseas. So that allowed me to then be back in that arena. It allowed me to have multiple nominations, move outside of Charlotte and outside of North Carolina. I was one of the first artists that was able to like gravitate in that manner, but of the females. And it was just a great feeling being an independent artist, no manager. Like I've learned all of that. So it was just like
Mm-hmm.
I needed to build myself first. So
Right.
I shout out to other artists that were already on that was co-signing my music. And from that, I went to started just recording a lot. And that helped me also with therapy, my therapy, form of therapy, and different relationships that I was in that weren't healthy. And
Yeah.
then
No,
just
I
a
get
new
it.
escape. Yeah. So I just
Yeah, I hear you.
every day it was
Mm-hmm.
like, wake up and go to the studio, wake up, and I was in the studio. And a lot of people, they plug in 5 to 8 hours and they just sitting in there chilling. That wasn't me. I All my beats were made originally from scratch. I sat there and wrote, sat with the producer and recorded. So I have a lot of music that I'm getting ready to drop. So one of the songs, like you said, was um I Want It All. And I did that with Jay Styles, where we co wrote it. And I had ended a relationship finally was like, you know what, this ain't it. And we need
Right.
something for the ladies. But and I didn't want it to be like a downer. I love Mary J. Blige, and her music has gotten a lot of us through a lot of situations. I just didn't want
Right.
to be pigeonholed. Hold. So we
Hmm.
then took that experience that I had, and then we flipped it up a little bit. So shout out to Jay Styles. He has done a lot of writing and also performed with Blackstreet. And what else we have so much. I have some music with my brother 20. Shout out to him. He and I was recording, and I was his first artist, like with doing music as far as the type of music that I was doing.
Hmm.
And it was just amazing. I have a lot of great people. Shout out to Jay Stacks as well. So what I'm excited about is that a lot of the producers that I have worked with, and shout out to QZ the Music Man, he has done a good bit of my music as well, is that all of them were Grammy nominated. They all have been working, like Jay Stacks, and even 20 multi-platinum producers. So it's like we
Hmm.
all came up, and I'm just excited because then it just put an extra blessing on my projects.
That's amazing. And I love the fact that, you talked about going to the studio and working versus, yo, I'm in the studio and you just chilling,
Yeah,
taking pictures for the gram and stuff like that.
right.
But for me, I work so much better when I'm just alone in the studio
Mhm.
getting stuff done. You
Yes,
know what
I
I
can't
mean?
have. Yeah, I can't have anybody in the studio. It's got.
I need I
Yeah.
need that time because number one, and I'll give you an example. Like shout out to my sound engineer Electric out in Philly. When I recorded every second, and when I tell you that was equivalent to working out in the gym because
Mhm.
he pushed me and pushed me and pushed me because he said something to me that was super important. And I want to, if you're a recording artist, you got to listen to this. He told me, he said, bro, you cannot let the track outperform you.
Correct. That's a
And when
must.
he said that to me, I'm like, oh, okay. That's
That's
when I
a,
realized, and see, and that's why I love the fact that I want people around me that's going to tell me what I need to hear, not what I
mhm,
want to hear.
correct.
Because you
Yes.
can have, you can have people that's gonna, that's gonna gas you up and say, "Oh yeah, man, this is awesome, this is great," but they don't know. I would
Yeah.
rather work with people that are either equal or better than me that I
Right.
can learn and get better. That's the
Yes.
most important thing. So I'm glad you said that about
Yes.
how you are in the studio, and you're taking an athlete's mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and you
And
have to
bring
have
it
an
into.
athlete's mindset into
Yes.
the art to be
You have to.
successful at it.
Correct. You said it. You said it.
It's a factual fact.
Yeah.
So with that, like I said, obviously, you're doing a lot of really good things with music. You're an actress as well. I mean, there's projects you've been in, such as Peace Be Still, Quarantine Relationship, What's Your Chocolate. There's a recent one that I want to talk about is Who Do Men Talk To? And of course, there's
Mhm.
Counterplay, which is now on Tubi. Talk
Yeah.
about the synopsis of some of those films, especially Who Do Men Talk To? Because I saw the poster and I'm just like, ooh, it looks
Yes.
really intriguing, and I would love to hear what you have to say in
Everybody.
regards to it. I don't know when it's
Yeah.
going to come out, but if you could talk about some of those projects you were in.
Sure. I love it because I utilized my talent. Then when I saw that other people was really serious about it,
Hmm.
and my oath as well was to myself was once I started getting more exposure, that I was going to bring that back to the people that helped me along the way, and then back to the city of Charlotte because I felt that that's where I grew the most, and then emancipated myself, and I learned so much. I have lived on every part, every section area in Charlotte. I have. So it's just like learning people and then just being able to tell that story. And then coming back to Charlotte in the film industry, shout out to Ty Durden and Renaissance Jones. Tyden, he did the Counterplay. He wrote that movie, and
Hmm.
he's also directed. He does film and then Renaissance. So when I did a Quarantine Relationship, and I shout out to Stanley. Shout out to him for that. I starred in that with alongside one of my colleagues, Nelson Davis, and he's huge now. And he had that same mindset. Instead of looking for work, he created so many movies.
Mm-hmm.
So you see him they call him Mr. Tubi, but he was smart about it because now he has his own projects and stuff like that. So he was like, sis, I got this role and it's quarantine relationship. I was like, oh, okay, read it. And I was like, okay, I got to do it. So they've seen me in different web series. I also acted, it was a small role that I had on What's Your Chocolate, and it expanded to one of the lead roles. And then shout out to Tim McCullough. I was able to direct. He gave me a lot of leeway with creativity and helping me
Mm-hmm.
really hone in on my craft. And I was able to write and seeing that the audience loved the material. And
Mm-hmm.
it just for me too, it then when people say Kareesh, then I can say, hey, these are great kings that I have worked with, that have that same potential as well. Because when I did Quarantine Relationship, they released it early because they liked the trailer, and we shot up. It was right during COVID,
Right, right.
and it was so perfect. And we went up to shot up to 1 million, and I was the lead actress. So it was just like, oh, okay, I'm the lead in this. And Ty Durn, he was interviewing me for his podcast, and I was on my promo run for that, and he was telling me, hey, I'm interested in writing, I've been doing this, with the directing and stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
was telling them, I said, stay at it, and you can do it. And so when they started doing it, then I came back and was like, "Where you need me?" And they
Mm-hmm.
gave me a role. Renaissance, he wrote the one with Why Do Men Talk? Who Do Men Talk To? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And that hasn't come out yet. But what I love about that one is just because it really gives the onset, and not saying too much about it because it hasn't come out yet, but it gives
Mm-hmm.
you and highlight when I feel it's going to be perfect timing when it comes out, highlighting men, the way of the thought process, the mental health, and then the woes that we go
Mm-hmm.
through, men of color as well, on who do they talk to,
Right.
who released that, because that's not what you're taught. Society didn't teach you that. They tell you, don't, you bet not cry, and
Uh-huh.
too soft. So I was happy Renaissance came and he was like, hey, you want to play yourself? And I was as I love Wendy Williams, so the Miss Media icon, and I was able to play that role. But that was one of the scenes we were able to really hone in on that, and that's why I love that so much. And then the gentlemen that are in there, they're great actors. Counterplay is definitely a great film as well. It's on Tubi, Peacock, it's everywhere now. So I was just so happy because it was where the film Quarantine Relationship put a highlight on Charlotte and on North Carolina, and I'm like out here, and you know how you playing double dutch and you jumped in. Then now I was looking back and I was like, and that's why I kept telling the title, like, I want y'all to be ready because I'm excited. And shout out to Gigi Bells. She works alongside them, and she's an awesome, phenomenal woman. And I love it that she has now evolved from being an actress, and now she's writing and she's directing, and she got her first film. So it's just being a catalyst and an
Right.
inspiration. That it's not about me. That's why I always say my purpose is bigger than me. So even though that avenue, somebody can say, hey, I can do that too. So
Right,
anything
right.
that, yeah, that they ask me about, I'm like, will you need me? If you need me to be holding up being a grip, like I'm there. It doesn't matter if I just got a Grammy or a Oscar. If they call, I'm going to be like, what? Or and then just invite them in. So it's just for me. I feel that is such a great thing to learn and conquer, and then come back, and then how you include your community at the same time. And so, because there's really no need for competition, because you should be just competing against yourself. So,
Agree. No, no, 100% agree. And like I
yes.
said, I've been acting now this past I know we're recording on the 16th right now, January. The
Hmm.
12th, January 12th was my 15-year anniversary when I first took my very first acting
Yes.
class.
Yes.
And I would have never guessed that I wouldn't have, if you would have told me in 2010 that I would be hosting this podcast, I would have thought you were out of your absolute mind. You know what I mean? But it's
Right.
just where the entertainment world, like once you're involved in one thing, it's just all
Mhm.
these doors just open. And you're gonna
Yes.
have all these keys, the doors that you didn't think you were gonna be able to fit in. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
love the fact that you talked about, learning all aspects of the business. That was one thing I wanted to talk to you about
Hmm.
was how were you able to utilize your experience as a recording artist into film? How were you able to have those two things kind of coincide together?
Well, what I loved about it was what I sat back and thought was, okay, how can I love marketing? So I was like, well, how
Hmm.
can you be more marketable? And then
Hmm.
speaking with the people that were the forerunners, and even seeing them on stage, like Martha Wash and different people at different
Hmm.
events,
Right.
sometimes they're like, baby girl, I don't feel like recording today. I don't want to perform. Like I just and so I was like, well, how can you still be able to perform and not have to work all the time? So then that's when I saw, as far as for the music, soundtracks.
Hmm.
So that migrated, okay, then I can take my music, it can cross over to soundtracks or commercials. And then it's just because I whenever I'm writing music, I'm already seeing the finished product anyway, the music video, and I'm
Hmm.
a very visual person. So that helped me to then put in, and then I directed and wrote my videos. If I didn't write it, I mean, if I didn't direct it, I did everything except hit the camera. And I got the best person, shout out to my big brother, Marlon, Crucifix Productions. And we sat in there and we did the film, we did the work. And I was able to then see, oh, okay, then I know how to do this, I know how to do that, from acting or just working behind the scenes. It just helped cultivate all the things that I wanted to do, because I saw people was getting into it for the wrong reasons. I was like, now if I'm gonna get into this, I got to see what's going on. And I actually worked my butt off and worked
Right.
in those different avenues and those different fields. So then nobody can BS me and tell me, because I know how long it takes to do something, because I know how to do it. And that's just was the business mindset at all times for me to have those things all come together as one.
Yeah, and I mean that was one of the things I had to realize too, because in the beginning, I'm an actor and that's it. I'm an
Hmm.
actor and that's it. And then I on a dare of something that I wanted to do for years was record a record, record a song. And I said, I'm
Hmm.
going to record this song and I'm going to leave music alone. And
Hmm.
what happened? I'm writing my
Everyone
next
gets
one
you.
and another
Right.
one, and you're writing,
Right.
and it's just like, what did I get myself into again? And it's like, so, but again, you said it in the in just a few moments ago about how marketable you can be, because
Hmm.
now, to your point, you're saying, hey, film company, I can
Yep.
star in this, but I can also contribute to your soundtrack.
Yep. Exactly.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So
Yep.
so you're being an asset
Correct.
to the
Yes.
project,
Yes.
and that's how you sell
Mhm.
when you
Yes.
when you're going into these rooms, because I know a lot of times you can knock the role out of you can knock the audition out of the water. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Because I
Yes.
mean now that all auditions are mainly self-tape now, all auditions are,
Yeah.
and it's bigger than just nailing the role. All right, cool, but
Mhm.
what else can you
Can you
add
go into it?
to
Yeah.
this?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's the most important thing that people need to understand as far as marketability and not being a one trick pony, because the days I feel, because obviously your Denzel Washington's, that's
Mhm.
a totally separate thing. He came up in
Right.
a different time, and
Yeah.
the GOAT
Yeah.
does whatever the GOAT wants to
What
do.
wants to do. Exactly.
And there's no and I
Mhm.
don't even like calling him Denzel. I say Mr. Washington, because
Right. Exactly.
that's how much respect I have
Respect.
for him. But
Yes.
now for all of us that are just trying to get into the doors and all these other things, now we have to be far more marketable than we've ever been because we're competing with influencers now.
Yes. Yeah.
Influencers are getting commercials, they're getting
Hmm.
all these other things. So we have to compete. I don't want to say compete, but we just really have to be
Marketable.
marketable. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah. And
On that
serious
note,
about it.
but on that note, how does Kareesh for real define success?
Ooh. For me, I would say success is being happy and at peace in what you really want to do. And when you're getting up every
Hmm.
day and even before you go to sleep, you're satisfied with the way your peace and what you
Hmm.
define as peace, what you define as happiness. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be materialistic things that a lot of people have, paraded and promoted. At the end of the
Right.
day, you're really going to find out it's really peace within. The people that are around you, are they bringing you peace? What is peace? And I
100%.
think that is success. And I've started over many times where people really sabotage financially because they was like, "Damn, she's making it too much." And after a while, I made it back, but it's the peace. I've traveled the world with people that weren't at peace. So this time
Mm.
around, when I was traveling, I was like, I have to make sure the people that I travel the world with the next time around would be able to create memories and be grateful for it, not for me, but just grateful for moments that they can create where they can go back and
Hmm.
say, you remember this or you remember that. So that for me, was success, and being able to be in the position that I'm in. And it has been long and hard because I went the untraditional route where I said no a lot. And because I didn't fold the way other people would have, then people made it harder. And you understand this in this
Oh yeah.
they make it harder for you. So, but what I
Hmm.
feel so successful for and grateful for, even shout out, like we said, the go Jonathan, and he's been a great business partner, and the others that are in my circle is not where somebody that who's trying to get something for something,
Foreign right.
and we actually are respective where it's like, I know that I'm assigned to you to push a bigger purpose, and ours is
Right.
to provide a larger platform to let people know that they can be successful within themselves. It's mind, body, and soul. And then
Hmm.
you're being able to be your own independent business
Right.
and show light, and then you can give it back to your community. So
Hmm.
that's where I'm at right now. I have reached, and I'm not saying that I reach the highest level because I'm always going to be evolving. I'm still
Absolutely. No, 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 agree. Yeah.
it's like
Absolutely.
now I can take what I have learned, what I have done, those projects, and they shed the light that now other people can see. Now other people can be inspired. So I don't care if they say they don't like me or if they like me. Either way, you're gonna step your game up, and and I inspired you in some way, shape, or
Agreed.
form. And a lot of people that are saying, "Oh, it's like the villain," is that you weren't at that time. I'm trying to teach you or show you, but I had to learn also. Sometimes people are not ready and you can't force it,
Of course, no.
you know?
Agree.
And for that, I'm wasting my time. So,
Right.
if we know that time is not promised to us, that's one of the biggest gifts in the world. So that's
Hmm.
what I feel success is being able to get up and be at peace at where you are, where you want to be, and then you can focus and remain focused. And no matter what anybody says, it's not going to keep you unwavering from your focus, what your goal is. And I'm going to be traveling this year. And I'm loving it. I'm able to have the opportunity to provide the way of traveling for other people too, and then others to learn, because we're so stuck into our little bubble and not knowing that there's a huge world out there. So I can tell you it's gray over there and really it's pink, but you won't know because you never went.
Right. Right.
You said it's pink. Kareesh said it's gray, while Kareesh is over there seeing that it's pink. So that's what I'm on right now. And then just showing people that you got to get uncomfortable. And when I'm saying this, I'm also saying this to myself as well. It's just, in order to be successful, you got to be willing to be uncomfortable and take those sacrifices, and don't care that you're missing out on different things, because once you become really successful and that's mind, body, and soul, financially, then you can be able to really enjoy life and not be stressed.
100% agree with that. Few more questions. I know you got to get out of here.
Mhm.
Culture Buzzing TV,
Yes.
your vision, your company, your baby.
Yes.
Talk about the origin of that and what it's grown into today.
Okay. The origin of that was from me from being an athlete and then knowing how to transfer that over and then being within the community, to be able to. A lot of people got out, but they never came back or reinvested in the community or different things. And like I said, for me, uh, traveling, I was able to see where a lot of people they lacked knowledge or didn't understand. So for
Hmm.
me, I wanted to take all of my experiences and put it into one where it is like a safe haven, a space where people feel comfortable in order to grow and to have that opportunity to be able to expand and see more in life, and that the culture, it's so big out here, like, and to learn
Yeah.
and not be so judgmental. So I was inspired by, like I said, Wendy Williams, different people, and shout out to Tiana Taylor and um oh my god, the big great that everybody always talking about. We want to make sure to they provided the confirmation of my vision, that
Hmm.
I can be able to expand this, and then it also feeds the community in different ways, and then it also brings back a greater return that other people can be able to escape. So the things that I went through as a youth, or not having resources, now people can have those resources. And just going through the industry as a woman in every different type of industry that I've been
Oh
in
yeah. Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
So just having the things that I didn't have, and then just knowing that that was my mission. And my grandma told me that since I was like 4 or 5, like, you're supposed to touch the world. And I'm just thinking it's just something. But now I'm seeing what she spoke,
Mm.
what it was prophesying. And it's all
Right.
coming because what a lot of things that I went through, people had, I can be more relatable. So just having all those things in a nutshell, because people was like, "Oh, she's all over the place," and we never heard about a black girl. She's doing so much pop, and just doing different things. Now they see
Right.
that it's all gelling together, being marketable, and being able to be who you want to be. And if this doesn't work, learn how to pivot, and it goes with evolution. So
Absolutely.
that's what the origin with the culture, and just being able to have artists and have even the common person or creative know that they can receive a lot of knowledge, and then the experience, and then it's just like an internship or a safe haven. And even as an athlete or former athlete, it's just being able to have that space, and they don't talk about or allow us to talk about our mindset. We can be going through a lot of things, and that's what, like I said, some people chose to do drugs or different things like that, or
Right.
bad habits. But just creating that niche, because that wasn't there. So that has been my vision that I've been sitting on for like 10 years of my vision. And I'm just so happy to have, like I said, shout out to Jonathan, as part of the visionaries, and he's a huge visionary as well. And with Culture Buzz and Radio Pushers and everybody else that have played an intricate part in my career or my life, I'm so glad, because now it's emitting that light that's shining on everybody else, that now they can be awakened and now they have the opportunity. So they call me the Olivia Pope or Harriet Tubman. So I'm bringing back that freedom.
There we go. I love that. My
Yes.
last question is a two-part question.
Okay.
What is the proudest moment of your life and career, and where do you see Kareesh Forreal in 5 years?
Ooh. Oh gosh. I think I had so many moments. I think the proudest moment hasn't come yet,
I
because
respect that.
I want to. Yeah, it hasn't come yet. Um, I've I have achieved a lot that a lot of people would want to have that one goal.
Hmm.
So just being able to show my kids that you can do what you put your mind to, and not saying no, or taking no for an answer, but really being productive in what you're, and having a purpose and a sense of purpose, for it. And for Carishan, you said 5 years, 10 years?
5 or 10, whatever you want it to be. Whatever you want it to be.
Well, I'm gonna have it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I feel that it will the things that I am putting in place now will be all over the world. And in a place where Culture Buzz will be franchised and really showing where there's a lot of safe haven for a lot of people in any different industry that they can be able to do. So just being that great person to and not being afraid of just persevering and being the person to push the envelope because I know that I have a lot of people that's dependent on me in the background.
You know what I loved about your answer about your proudest moment of your career
Hmm.
is because one of my favorite athletes, Tom Brady, the GOAT, 7-time Super Bowl champion, people when he was playing and people
Yeah.
used to ask him, what was your favorite Super Bowl? He would always say, my next one.
Yes.
I love that answer seriously
Wow.
because
Yes.
and people ask me
Good.
what was my favorite movie I was ever in. I would just say
Hmm.
whatever my next one's going to be
Hmm.
because I'm looking ahead. You
You
know what I
have to.
mean? And
Yes.
you have to do that. I can never ever rest on my laurels. I can never oh, okay, I did it. No, I'm always ahead. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Incredible, incredible. So, where can people find you on social media, all platforms, the whole 9 yards? Where can they find you?
They can find me on all platforms, and it's Kareesh Forreal. That's KAREESHFORREAL. You can hear me, my voice on radio pushers, real release radar. I'm on several podcasts and with radio pushers, music hype beats, the podcast 102.8 in LA. Also, like I said, we're going to be rocking my baby Culture Buzz. That's going to be powered by Apple TV, also radio pushers. So just put in Kareesh for real. We have some new stuff I've revamped. So YouTube and everything is going to be dropping new information, but definitely tap into radiopushers.tv. You're going to be seeing a lot of my shows there. And then also we're going to be streaming live. And I'm so excited about my podcast. And I definitely am so excited about having this interview with you. And for me, it's full circle and why I wanted to make sure and do it because I know that one of my first interviews, I interviewed you and learned a
In the
lot about
pandemic,
you.
during the
Yes,
pandemic,
in the
the
pandemic.
pandemic.
So just seeing and this is what I live for and why I do because the evolution. Like you was just talking about your music that you was doing. You was coming back with your music, your t-shirt, your merchandise. Now you have your own podcast. You have sponsors. You're out here, on the sideline with ESPN. Still the voice in WWE. Look at that. See, and I'm just loving that. So these are the reasons why, and you're one of them that I will stop whatever I'm doing, and I'm just like, hey, will you need me?
Yeah, I
I'm
appreciate
so
that. I
appreciative
appreciate
of it.
that, man.
Yeah.
Your mouth to God's ears about WWE. Hopefully someday I do work there. I'm still in the
Mhm.
independence, working really hard. But
I already claimed it.
yeah, absolutely. But no, but in all seriousness though, like,
Yes.
you interviewed me in 2020 and when I was, because I had been a part of Radio Push for a few years at that point, but
Yeah.
and I know Jonathan was starting, the podcast, aspect of everything
That's
of
what it
getting to
is.
know the artists, but to be able to because we met in Miami during We Build Different
Very
conference
good
in
conference. Yeah.
2022 and
Yeah.
just being able to meet everybody, yourself, Zoe Rose Gold, Patience J, everybody that was there, for a sole purpose. And I think we walked away better people, better,
Hmm.
better artists, better creatives in all aspects of what we do. So, to
Yes.
be able to have you here, on the show, beyond appreciative. And, I'm sure that our careers are always going to be lock and step no matter what. You know what I mean? We're always
It
going to
is.
be around and, I'm hopeful to get in the booth with you someday. And then number
Yes.
two, you know, I would love to do a buddy cop movie with you. I'm just
Hey,
saying.
that's what I was about to say. When
I
we
love
got
a buddy. Man, listen,
because I'm
I
already writing. I was
because
thinking.
we always see guys and guys, right, doing buddy
Right.
cop movies. But I'm like,
Yeah.
why can't a male and a female
Do
do a
it.
buddy cop movie? That I
Yes.
mean, those movies never ever go out of style. I don't care what
Right.
it is, whether it's
Right.
Who's the Man with Dr. Dre and Ed Lover, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
Obviously there's Blue Streak. There's all those
Mm-hmm.
cop movies that Martin was doing, Big
Martin
Mama's
Lawrence.
House, all that
Yes.
stuff. It's there, but I mean, I would love, our careers will continue, like I said, to be, lock and
Locked in.
step, no matter what. And I thank you very, very much for giving
Yes.
me your time. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. And let's talk about that because I love that concept.
All right. Well, that does it for this week's edition of the D-Lew Podcast. Once again, I want to thank Kareesh Forreal for stopping by, giving us her time, and I am beyond appreciative of you doing that for me. And of course, I'll see you down the road. If you haven't done so already, ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to hit that subscribe button no matter which platform you're listening or watching this on. So if it's Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or YouTube, make sure that you look up the D-Lew Podcast, on YouTube especially, or the real DT Lew, Derrick T. Lewis, and hit the subscribe button, and you'll be able to get notifications when there's new content available. All right. Social media. You can hit up the D-Lew Podcast, of course, on all platforms at the D-Lew Podcast. Of course, my own social media, you can go to at the real DT Lew, with the exception of Facebook, which is Derrick T. Lewis official page. Of course, there's my Pro Wrestling Tees store to get all my wrestling themed merch at pwt.derricklewis.com. And of course, there's the Derrick T. Lewis official merchandise store at shop.derricklewis.com. Oh, yeah, as I mentioned last week. And of course, there's some new things happening with the store because now there's the Derrick T. Lewis Nike collection that is available right now at shop.derricklewis.com. We have hats, pullover fleece hoodies, and of course, the Nike themed dry fit tees. I am so excited that Bonfire, which is the manufacturer for my store, has the partnership with Nike to provide opportunities for me to have the swoosh logo on my merchandise. So thank you all very much. Well, I'm going to get out of here. And as I always say, no matter what it is you do in life, always remember to make it count. See you next time.